Our top story this hour, the financial crisis in Greece has taken a violent turn today as angry protesters take to the streets and clash with law enforcement. Greek police were forced to use tear gas grenades to disperse an angry mob of rioters in Athens. Protesters even set a bank building on fire, killing 3 people inside. The chaos comes amid a 24-hour nationwide strike that left thousands of flights grounded, shut down ports, schools, and even left many hospitals understaffed. Could those powerful images unfolding in Greece ever become a reality here in the United States? Here to talk to me about that very topic is Gerald Celente, director of the Trends Research Institute. Mr. Celente, you've said frequently that the United States is heading towards a financial crisis. Do you think what's happening in Greece right now is what's going to happen here in this country too?
It's not only going to happen in America, it's going to happen in most of the world. We have talked about this for months on end. You saw it's the Second American Revolution has already begun. It began in 2009 on April 15th with the Tea Parties and the tax protests. They were laughed at by the major media. And then we saw it again in July of 2009 on the 4th of July, when hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets. We saw it at the protests for health care reform. We saw it when over 1 million people, nearly 1 million people, marched on Washington on September 12th of 2009. This is going on worldwide. The people are protesting. The Greek tragedy is merely another chapter in the protests against the too big to fails.
Is there anything in the Greek system that's different from the United States economy that could keep that from happening here?
Well, the difference is that the United States could print its own money for a while, where the Greeks don't have that option. But and of course the Greek people have caused their own problems as well, just as the Americans, by overspending, and theirs with their pension and tax cheating. But the overall reality is that the people are seeing what is this bailout all about and who is responsible for funding it. And it's falling on the backs of the people, just like in America, where they've taxed the people to bail out the too big to fails. Let's call this Greek bailout what it is. It's bailing out the European and the American banks that made big bets on Greek bonds that they're afraid are going to go belly up. And the people don't want to shoulder the burden, and we're going to see these kind of tax protests and revolts go worldwide.
You know, right now officials keep saying that we're heading out of this recession and that things are getting better. So why do you think that things will get that bad when it seems like every day on the news these people are coming out and saying, you know, this will never happen here in this country?
It's a temporary bailout, as we said. The United States in 2009 and early 2010 has spent, lent, and guaranteed over $11 trillion. This is fake money. It's phantom money printed out of thin air, backed by nothing, and not worth the digital money. It's not digital paper. It's not printed on. So we're going to see this collapse as the stimulus collapses. That's what happened in Europe as they started to unwind the stimulus, as they attempted to raise interest rates. The economies start to fail. We're going to see it in Spain. We're going to see it in Portugal. We already see it in Latvia, the Ukraine, in Hungary, in Ireland. It's going global. There's no stopping it, and the people are going to revolt. This is a classic example of what happens throughout history as the too rich get too much and the rest of the people are taxed to pay for their overindulgences.
You know, it seems like aside from the Tea Partiers that you mentioned, and it's really hard to ignore them, we're not really seeing a massive public movement or outrage against bankers or anything like that in this country. I mean, in comparison to what's going on in Greece right now, do you think people are apathetic or they don't really know what's going on? And do you think we will see a 180 and perhaps things might get violent like they are, you know, what's going on right now in Greece too?
In 2007, in our Trends Journal, when we forecast the top trends of the coming year, we had predicted tax protests. We called it the coalition of the cash strap. Back in winter of 2007, you could have bet that in all odds that Americans would have never gotten off their lazy boys and out onto the streets. This is just the beginning. As conditions worsen, as unemployment goes up, as more money is needed to bail out failing firms, you're going to see the same things happening in the United States that are going on in Greece. And again, it's going global.
Mr. Celente, you're clearly pretty good at predicting things, as you just pointed out. What's going to happen next, and when will this collapse hit American society, as you said?
Look at our top trends for 2010. One of them is the crash of 2010. We had forecast in December of 2009 and make that the global economy was going to collapse, and one of the primary reasons behind it was going to be a currency crisis. It's underway. They can't stop it from happening. What is the, by the way, what's going on in Greece with the IMF and the Economic Monetary Union bailout, it's against the Maastricht Agreement. They're not supposed to be doing this. This is only a temporary fix. It's not going to work.
Centers nearby, and upon checking out, the gal asked me what I was doing with so much food, and I said, there's an economic collapse coming to this country. Plan now. And she laughed. She actually thought that was funny. Here's the point. There are people out there that we can't help and don't want to help themselves. But as for the rest of us, buy storable food now. It remains cheap at this very moment in time, despite the meteoric rise in price of wheat, up 54% since June. Sugar's up 114%, and corn is up 79%, along with most other commodities, including silver. Buy food now for storage. This instant. Go tonight, tomorrow. Buy food in any amount you are able to buy it. Just as silver was cheap 1 year ago at $14.32 an ounce, food is cheap today compared to what it will cost 1 year hence, and perhaps much, much sooner.
For 30 years, eFoods Global has been perfecting the process by which we make our food reserves. We start by using only the finest sun-ripened and fresh produce grown and harvested following the Good Agricultural Practices guidelines. Not only are our ingredients GAP certified, but we carefully test them for chemical and microbial contaminants like Salmonella and E. coli before the approved ingredients are blended into our exclusive recipes following strict quality control standards established and audited by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. These ingredients are cholesterol-free and contain no trans fats, no hydrogenated oils, and no MSG. At eFoods Global, we do not freeze-dry our food because the freeze-drying process removes moisture and infuses chemicals into the food to prolong the shelf life. All of our ingredients are dehydrated only using low heat, and no chemical preservatives are ever added. Our dehydration process naturally preserves the food so that upwards of 92% of the nutritional value remains intact. These quality ingredients are then packaged in moisture-resistant, light-resistant, proprietary assurance packaging that is flushed with carbon dioxide to prevent oxidation and guarantee longer shelf life and quality before sealing the package. Finally, we date stamp the outside of the package the day we prepare the food reserves, so you know you're getting fresh food reserves. eFoods Global Reserves, when properly stored, maintain their flavor and quality for up to 25 years. Now, I know what you're thinking. These can't possibly be the reserves. But these delicious meals are exactly what you get when you prepare your eFoods Global meals. And none of these meals require more than a pot of boiling water, the contents of a package, and 10 to 20 minutes. Pretty soon, you are going to select some of these delicious meals to try for yourself for free. That's a great opportunity. Let's talk about some other opportunities eFoods Global has to offer you. Do you have any food reserves in your home right now? How long could you provide food for your family if the food supply was cut off? A month? A week? 3 days? Wouldn't you feel better if you had the necessary reserves? Have you ever noticed that the more advanced we get, the less prepared we are? Many things that defined life only 100 years ago are so convenient today that we don't really think about what would happen if that convenience were gone. Consider how we get our food. We just go down to the grocery store and grab a few things. But what if something happened that interrupted the food supply to the store? How long would it take for the shelves to be wiped out? What would you do? How long could you and your family survive? You know, for all the other important things in our lives, we have a variety of professionals, from mechanics to doctors, to help cover our bases. Why don't we also have a food professional? Food is our greatest dependency. Yet most of us find ourselves unprepared for the uncertainties that lie ahead. Why take chances? Why not do something about it? You've already taken the first step. Keep moving forward with this tour, and we can help you put a plan together and even show you how to get your food for free.